So, good morning everyone. So, today's discussions, I will going to pinpoint 5 concepts about dance as a performing arts. But before that, I would like to say that all my answers is only my own opinion and my own interpretation. So, without further ado, let's get started. So my first concept is that all performances, in the sense that interest us, are actions, whether individual or collective. So first, in individual. So I recognize it in which individuals has a passion about doing such particular activities. It may include in sports or in regards with pursuing your talents in theater or in dance or even in your academic performances. So basically, it means that you are enthusiast person when it comes in dance or in theater or to your hobbies. So on the other hand, collective performances in which each members not only act but they do their own individual efforts and contribution to their team or to their group. So in short, this is at some kind of coordination to have a collective effort and contribution without the accreditation of the whole team. So for example, if you are a actor and actress, now we all know that you are not only the performer but you are working on a team. So especially if the concepts ng inyong stage play is monologue. So we all know naman kung anong definition ng monologue. It means that every character has a own highlight and turn to speak in front of the audience. So in that way, or that was a good way para ipakita mo ang imong own contribution or efforts towards achieving a good performances or success sa inyong performance. So my second concept is as actions, performances involve behavior, at least one, aims or purpose about what within your behavior. It might be implicitly or it is understood but it was not clearly stated or explicitly or it was directly stated. So it implied that the action of shutting down the window is different from your purely bodily movements or in physical term. So it means that the action provided by the window is absolutely different from us as a human being. So that's why we distinguish it from the use of the term to assess the behavior of things that incapable of action without subject evaluation. So one of our distinctions sa mga bagay is we can talk. So for example, in dance, so if you are a dancer, even though that we are not talking or directly communicating to our audience, still through our bodily movements, we can easily or at some point they can directly understood what the purpose of our dances or what message relay to our to a particular dances. Another example from this concept. So the car will get erratic or useless if there is no control of a driver or without any attributing action. So therefore, the car will become a no sense ended performer. So we all know that a car or a things is need to have a subject evaluation. So as a human being or as a dance performer, we can relate to this because sometimes as a dance performer, we need to have a subject evaluation or to we need to have evaluation from others to set expectation from us or to set pressure from us in order to step out of our limits. So that's why as a performer, it is really necessary for us to have a reflections from or criticism from the others in order to know what is the things to be improved from us or what is the behavior that need to be developed in order to become a better performers. My third concept is that performances in the full sense are actions. However, not all actions are performance in the full sense. Another example from the attachment. Basil regularly carries an umbrella when he travels to work, and that he twirls it ostentatiously as he walks to and from the station. This could just be a nervous tic, But suppose that the twirling become more stylized and daring when he passes through neighborhoods where his actions are likely to be observed. It now starts to seem natural to describe what Basil does not merely as an action but as a performance in the full sense. So part of our evidence for characterizing what Basil does is in the way is the patterns that we observe in his behavior, the actions that are repeated from one occasion to another. That the actions shown by Basil every time he passed by this neighborhood is now considered as a performance in a full sense because it's not just only doing some sort of actions, but through the use of twirling his umbrella ostentatiously, especially in a stylized, in a daring way, is now considered as a performance in a full sense. So try to imagine ang ginagya ni Basil is now a stage play. Kung sa baga mo na namin, sa example, like ang street, imagine nunta nga mo na siyang stage play. Then Basil is a performer. So that's why even though that it seems more likely to become a natural for Basil to do that every day, but in his neighborhood point of view, may now considered for them as a performance. However, from this concept, not all actions are performance in the full sense. So, for example, from this attachment, so young Ben who stomps from the room slamming the door after being told that he can play his new video game on the family television may also rightly be described as giving a quiet performance, even if this is happily an isolated punctuation of the domestic calm. Thus, it is not considered as a performance in a full sense, even though it was called as a quiet performance because do ka tama, nagid ka natural nga amo na nga behavior ipakita ni Young Ben kay gin grounded siya or wala siya gipasugtan sa iyang gusto. So, ang stamping kag ang slamming sa door, it is not considered as a full performance. Rather, it is just like a domestic behavior sa mga kabataan or even sa aton. Also, Young Ben actions has no sense at all because it does not imply impact to his audience or to his family even though guro nga masyak lang tiya family sa gipakita ni Young Ben like sa pagdabog-dabog ito so hindi siya considered as a full sense performance. So unlike to Basil nga mayara siya nga performance hindi pakita like twirling his umbrella. So my fourth concept is that performances in the full sense not only involve actions aimed at achieving some result, but are also open, at least in principle, to public scrutiny and assessment. Personally, this concept talks about accepting criticism, public scrutiny, and assessment. So, when you are a performers performing to a particular areas or events, so it is actually normal for us to have a judgment from others or a vilifications towards our performance. So maybe there are people will bemoan about our performances, especially if we are not successfully performed it well. Or on the other hand, there also someone will singling out because of our poor performance. My fifth concept about dance as a performing arts that not all performances required an actual audiences. So just like Basil, actually si Basil, he does not set an expectations from his neighborhood nga i-admire siya or i-notice siya towards sa iyang action sa pagtwirling sang iyang umbrella. So it means that Basil does not seek attentions from his neighborhood. He attract attention to his neighborhood rather. So because what I understand from this attachment that an action will be considered as a performance if you are being noticed by someone. So again, just like a Basil, He does not seek any attention, but he attract attention toward his action. Therefore, performance with or without an actual audiences is still a performance, as long that performance it has a sense to you. So that's all. I hope I explicitly discussed to you. Thank you.